Welcome, dreamers. We hope everyone's having a fantastic Wednesday night. Last video, we talked a bit about farming. We went over how farming works in DreamWorld, as well as some techniques you could go about, creating farms, whether that be for decoration, whether that be for, a basic enclosed farm, or whether you combine farming and terraforming to make some pretty cool projects. I'm happy to report that the trees we planted around my base last time have fully grown. Here's how it looks. Before we talk about today's topic, though, I just want to remind you all that DreamWorld is currently in early access. If you like what you see in today's video, you can go to the description where there will be a link to our website where you can download a free trial to give DreamWorld a try for yourself. And if you enjoy the free trial, you'll be able to buy the game there as well. Again, link will be in the description to the website. Head down there to check it out. Today, though, we'll be bringing back a topic from a previous video. We'll be talking about more things to do in DreamWorld. Now, before we get into today's content, for those that didn't see the previous things to do, let's go over and do kind of a recap, of some of the things we covered back then. We talked about flying in DreamWorld, how there's two different ways to fly. If you're up on a high place and you jump off and have enough airtime, you can, glide down through the air with your glider. Every player is equipped with a glider. Or if you farmed enough white crystals and have them smelted, you can actually fly. Consuming a smelted white crystal allows you to actually fly around DreamWorld. It's a very easy way of transportation, especially if you don't have a mount. We also took a look at mounts themselves, though. Mounts are purchasable at the City of Elysium in the sky. There's a vendor you can actually buy them at. For the basic mount, the dough mount, all you're gonna need is a wax root and some berries. The mounts allow you to travel faster on foot throughout the biomes. Now, they can't go up and down steep surfaces that you'll have to, climb over, and they can't go on water, but they're pretty, quick way to travel around the world. Also in the city, we took a look at the airstreams that were added into the game. You can use these to, fly up high above the city and float down. It allows for some really cool visual sights, especially when the sun's setting or rising. There's also downdrafts heading down from the island, so if you jump off the island and, glide down, you'll be caught in the downdraft, so be aware of that. Some other things we covered in Volume 1 was the shipwrecks and how you can farm them for doubloons and, different types of, silver and gold. And we took a look at the merchant character, where you can actually take your doubloons and buy, certain goods from merchants around the world. And lastly, we took a look at emoting, which was, a way to communicate with other players using emotes. And we examined the, spirit orb totems that you'll find around the world, where if you interact with them, they'll give you potions. Now, after all these features, DreamWorld still has more to offer. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the many workbenches and crafting benches that you can actually build and the things that you can do with them in DreamWorld. There's 5 in total, so we'll go one by one and go over the many things you can do with each crafting or workbench. To start right off, let's take a look at the cooking station. You can craft these stations using your asset catalog. If you hit the Q button, it'll bring up your asset catalog, and at the very top, you'll see all the different crafting stations. It'll tell you all the different materials you're going to need to craft each one. For the cooking station, you'll just need wood and gravel. Wood you can farm in most of the areas that you can go in the game. You have conifer and redwood in the mountains, the live and dead desert wood in the desert, and then the birch and oak trees in the forest. And then gravel you can actually find in the desert. You'll see it mixed in with the sand, and you can just take out a shovel and dig it right up. Get enough of those two resources and you can make a campfire too. Campfires allow you to craft the many different foods in DreamWorld. Now, crafted foods in DreamWorld do a few things. First of all, they give you more HP back. So the more food you have with you on your adventures, the more you can fight enemies and, stay alive in the actual wild. But on top of that, crafted foods also give you certain buffs. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the foods you can make and the different buffs that they'll give you. Right off the bat is cooked fish. How do we get fish? Well, it's as simple as exploring the different reefs. You're going to be able to find fish among the anemones down there. So get right to swimming and farming in the reefs and you'll get some fish. Combine fish with some wood and you'll have a cooked fish. Easy enough. It'll restore 20 health and give you some mana regeneration for 30 seconds. What is mana? Well, we'll get to that later. But if you're trying to make a spell build with your character where you're trying to use, spells, cooked fish might be a pretty good food item to use. Next on the menu is cooked meat. This food item is, for me, the easiest to find. The boars and the bears, they'll always drop meat. And if you kill goblins, they'll actually sometimes drop cooked meat as well. That's right, not even raw meat, just cooked meat. But if you farm a lot of boars or bears and you have a lot of wood, come to your cooking station and cook that meat right up. It's gonna give you 20 health back per, piece of meat, and increase your armor by 5% for 3 minutes. That extra armor buff is really important early game, especially when you're trying to fight enemies in the, mid-tier biomes like the desert and the mountains. Next up, we got everyone's favorite carb, bread. Bread is actually pretty easy to make. If you make your way to a desert, you'll find a lot of these wheat plants. Let's go ahead and collect some. All right, now that we have a few of those and we have some wood left over, we can go to our cooking station and make some bread. Bread is gonna restore 20 health per piece of bread and increase your melee damage by 10% for 3 minutes. So if you're looking for some damage output, have some carbs. Next up, we have the good old kebab. The kebabs can actually be found a lot by killing goblins, but we're gonna go over how to craft them as well. To craft the kebab, you'll need cooked meat, not raw meat, water snails, and cactus fruit. Cooked meat, pretty easy to find. Water snails and cactus fruit though, so cactuses are in the desert. There's both green and white cacti. You can, farm both to have the chance of getting cactus fruit. And then water snails can be farmed by going, in both the desert and the forest. You'll find these reeds. And by farming the reeds, you can get water snails. So farm enough of these, combine them, and you'll get a kebab. What does a kebab do? It's gonna restore 40 of your health per kebab and increase your melee damage by 15% for 3 minutes. It's basically a better version of bread. Speaking of bread, I hope you crafted enough bread because our next food item is the berry pie. It actually sounds pretty delicious. I'm kind of hungry now. But what does a berry pie do? It's gonna restore 30 health per berry pie and increase your movement speed by 15% for 3 minutes. So if you're gonna be taking a long distance journey or you have to run away from enemies, your berry pie is gonna be your best friend. And if you have enough leftover bread, it's pretty easy to farm to make these. You just have to have red and blue berries and slices of bread. Next on the menu, we have the sandwich, the simple sandwich. You'll need cooked meat, not raw meat, a cooked chicken egg, and of course bread. Now, funny enough, cooked chicken egg is actually another food item that you can make in the cooking station. So when you actually farm chickens, if you go hunt some chickens, they'll drop some basically uncooked eggs, raw eggs. And if you have those and wood, you can come to the cooking station and cook some chicken eggs to get cooked chicken eggs. And then you can either eat those or use them to make sandwiches, if you have enough leftover bread and meat, that is. Now, a sandwich increases your health by 50 per sandwich and increases your block by 20% for 3 minutes. Now, if you wanted to eat the cooked chicken eggs on their own, they restore 15 health per egg, cooked egg, and increase your melee damage by 5% for 3 minutes. They're similar to bread. They don't restore as much health, but they are very easy to farm. But those are some of the foods you can craft at the cooking station. And those are all the different, component foods you're gonna need to put into the cooking station to make these. Remember, there are some foods you can eat that you don't have to cook, like wild berries and some mushrooms. But if you wanna get, more health restoration as well as some, skill buffs, cooking your food at the cooking station is gonna be the way to go. Let's head on to our next crafting bench though. This is, the crafting bench. The crafting bench is easy enough to make. You really just need wood. That's actually all you need. You just need wood to make it. Here is where you're gonna make all your different tools, your armor, and your weapons, as well as a few other miscellaneous things, but we'll go into that. Tool-wise, there's different tiers of tools you can make at the crafting bench. There's, the flint tools, which is basically the flint axe. It's the earliest item you can craft in the game. You can gather these materials without any tools in the forest. Flint, grass, and sticks can just be picked up with your bare hands. But once you craft a flint axe, you can get, higher tier items. The wood axe and the wood shovel, require wood, either amethyst or flint, depending on which one you're gonna craft, the shovel or the axe. And then seaweed, which you can farm just in the reefs. Then we have the desert biome tools. There's the bone axe, which requires different types of bones that you can farm, either by fighting skeletons or just by picking them up, throughout the biome. And then we have the bone pickaxe, which requires you to farm actually crocodile jaws, which can be found off of crocodiles, and then just different types of bones. Those tools allow you to farm materials from the mountains, so mountain stone, which then allows you to make stone tools. Stone tools are going to require mountain stone, conifer wood, which is found in the mountains, and then bear hide, which you can actually obtain by killing mountain bears. They're tricky, but with the bone axe, you could probably take them on. With those tools, you can then be able to make iron tools. A stone pick will allow you to go to the tundra, which allows you to farm, iron and silver, as well as gold, which can be found in both the mountains and the tundra. You just gotta look high up in elevation to find it. Iron tools require you to have smelted iron, more fortified hide, and pine wood. And then for the crystal tools, you'll need enchanted wood, which I'll talk about in a second. Different types of crystals that you farm can be used to make different things, like the axe is this purple crystal, and then the pickaxe is gonna be the blue crystal. Going back to enchanted wood though, enchanted wood can be found in the forest, but not under the city of Elysium. It's in the forest biomes far from the city. Farm enough of that up and you can make these crystal items. Weapon-wise, we have the good old wooden bow, the iron sword, and the crystal sword. The wood bow can be crafted with wood and sinew you get from killing skeletons in the desert. And then the iron and crystal swords can be crafted by using materials from the late game biomes, the mountains, and the tundra. Also on the crafting bench is a few kind of material items that you can use to make other things. Like the fastener can be used to make armor. We have different types of bricks. We have terracotta, polished woods, and metals, which can be used to give, a shine to your build pieces. You can craft doubloons, you can craft fortified strips, and you can even craft a green screen. Next, we have 3 different types of arrows you can craft: regular arrows, poison arrows, and explosive arrows. These are used with the bow. We'll craft a few regular arrows here, which require wood, feathers, and bee stingers. And lastly, you can make a shield. This gives you better blocking, and is also just kind of cool to carry around. DreamWorld's next crafting station is the go-to station to process all your metals, the smelter. For the smelter, you'll need to actually make this kind of mid to late game. You need to collect enough mountain stone as well as tundra material. Mountain stone is just the stone that makes up the mountains, and the tundra material is buried below the snow in the tundra. You can dig it out with a shovel. When you farm all of your metal, it's still useful. You can actually build with raw materials that you farmed, like raw copper, raw gold, or even raw iron. However, if you smelt your metal, it'll not only have a different texture when you use it as a build piece, but you can use that smelted metal to actually use to craft things at the crafting bench. However, to even smelt anything, you're gonna need one material: coal. You can get coal 2 ways. First of all is actually at the smelter. If you just smelt wood, any type of wood, it'll actually give you coal. So if you have a ton of leftover wood, you can just smelt coal. However, if you don't, there's another way you can get it. If you go to the mountain biomes and you go to one of the many cave systems there, go a little deep in and you'll find coal deposits. You'll be able to farm a good amount of coal here. So this way you won't have to waste any of your wood crafting it. Take your coal to your smelting furnace and you can smelt iron, copper, gold, silver, as well as the many different crystals that you can find throughout the game, like white crystals to fly, the green crystals that are actually found in forest biomes, similar to the enchanted trees where you have to go far out from the city. You can find these green crystals just kind of in caves around the forests. They'll be guarded by goblins though, so watch out. You can also smelt blue crystals from the tundra and even crystals from the mountains and the desert. So when you have enough ore and crystals farmed up, make sure to head over to your smelting furnace to get them processed and cooked. That's the furnace though. Now let's get to the next 2 crafting benches. Next up, we have the spell crafting table. As you play more of the game and you unlock more resources, you'll unlock more spells. To make this, you'll need stone, which you can farm from any mountain, beeswax, which you get by farming bees, flower sap, which is also found high up in the mountains, specifically from the white flowers that grow at high elevation, and we'll also collect a few golden mushrooms, which can be found in the mountains. Collect all 4 of these materials and you'll be able to make a spell bench, which allows you to shoot spells. Some of the spells that we have here are Ice Bolt, Fire Bolt, Holy Nova, and Shock Burst. Ice Bolt shoots an ice ball, Fire Bolt shoots a fireball, Holy Nova is gonna heal the area around you, and Shock Burst surrounds you with lightning. Today though, we're just gonna worry about crafting a Firebolt. For this spell, we're gonna need conifer wood, copper, and gold. Luckily, I've been farming plenty of those to make these videos, so we can craft this very easily. Spells are kind of the more fun ways to go about doing combat in DreamWorld. When you first get spells, it's a little tricky because you have to actually level up your magic, as you don't have infinite mana. Mana is the bottom right bar in your hotbar. That's basically the amount of energy you have to cast spells. The more you use spells, the more your mana bar is going to consume less of itself as you use the spell. It's kind of like training a muscle. The more you use it, the more energy it has, and the more it can, last without needing a break. We also have a few mana potions, though, so let's equip some of those as we go out and start testing this firebolt out. I love using these spells just because of the impact it has and the actual, fire that shoots out as you use them. I think it looks really cool. And it allows you to stay far away from the harder enemies in the game. For example, I have leather armor on right now, and I'm able to fight, ice boars and snowmen that have a lot more health and can deal a lot more damage to me with my lower armor. That spellcasting was fun, but let's get on to our last crafting station, the alchemy station. And our last things to do, we covered the, spirit totems that you'll find around the world. These give you potion drops. While you can farm these, for a fair while and get free potions from them, when you make your alchemy bench, you can actually craft any potion you want that's in the game. To make your alchemy bench, you'll need stone, blue mushrooms, which you'll find in the tundra, and potions. So if you've been farming those spirit totems, congratulations, you can now make an alchemy bench, but you'll have to sacrifice 2 of your potions. It'll pay off though, because now you can make any potion. To start off, we're gonna actually make 3 potions here. The health potion, which restores 100 health, that's basically your whole healing bar. The fortified potion, which increases your armor by 35% for 1 minute. And then we're also gonna make a strength potion. This will increase your melee damage by 25% for a minute. And there you have it. That's your alchemy system in DreamWorld. These are all the different crafting benches you can utilize in the game to, level up your character and make your experience out in the wild with, enemies and farming a lot better. We really hope you enjoyed this part 2 to things to do in DreamWorld. Again, if you like what you see in today's video, head on down to the description where you can go to our website to, try out the free trial that we have, or just try out the game in early access if you wish to purchase it. The link takes you to the website, which has all the information you'll need. As always, whether it was, watching the things you could craft, the things you could smelt, exploring the different foods you can make, seeing the spells you can cast, or the potions you can make. We hope you enjoyed the content today. Let us know if you'd like a volume 3 to things to do in DreamWorld. And dreamers, we'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.